you weren't in it first. I'm glad that I listened in.
I'm glad you did too. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of changes that happened recently, and upgrades and stuff, and that's what happened. So
Talk to me about that. What have
yeah,
you been? What have you been? Well, actually, you should probably say welcome to LandCave.
I guess we should start this off official. Welcome to the Land Cave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen,
Hello.
and we're here giving you the gaming news, nerd talk, gaming stuff, general yapping, if you will. Lots of yapping, mouth yapping, whatever you want to call it. Eating a lot because it's post Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good. I
Yeah,
cannot complain. It was chill. We
yeah.
managed to kick off the Christmas season at the end of the night. Watched a little Love Actually, as you do.
That's a
Got
great one.
got the tree up the next day. I still haven't watched Die Hard yet, though, so I can't really say that it's like officially Christmas yet. So I'll probably have to get that in sometime this week. And
Yeah,
what about you, man? How was the
yeah.
two-man Christmas?
It was good. It was good. We you did basically the same thing. I did a good amount of cooking, but not an insane amount of cooking. I didn't do the full bird. I usually do cook an entire turkey, but I couldn't justify it this year. So it was good though. It was
I'll
good.
I'll say for next year though, if we're still doing this in 2020 that or 2021 rather, the Cornish game hens taste exactly like turkey,
Okay.
and uh, they were like $4 a piece. We made three of them, but I only ate half of one on
Really?
actual Thanksgiving because what do you do on Thanksgiving? You load up on sides, right?
Yeah.
And it only took 50 minutes in the oven.
That's not
So
bad.
I think moving forward, if you're in that small family situation, you don't know what to do, half a bird per person plus sides, you'll be good. So just think about that. If you don't ever want to do like the full several hours of turkey, 50 minutes for
Yeah.
three birds. It was nice.
That's not bad. I think it took hour and 45 or so for mine. I had the turkey breast thing. I say thing because it's like boneless turkey breast. I'm like, okay, you ground it up and kind of mashed it, and you know, it was good.
Did you manage to keep it
It
from
was
getting
okay.
dry?
Yeah, it wasn't dry. The worst part though, that was okay. The worst part was the gravy that came with it was just terribly disappointing. I usually make my own gravy, and like it came with like a packet inside that like had juices, and it's like mix this with the turkey juices and do the
Mm,
thing, and it I would have preferred the dried mix instant gravy to what I got out of that.
that's
That's the only thing that
harsh.
sucked. Yeah, that's the only thing that sucked. I
We
usually do like the drippings, and like I deglaze the pan with some red wine, and it's good.
So I don't know if did we talk about me making a roux where I didn't know how to do that last week.
No,
I
no.
posted on my Facebook. So that I wanted a new macaroni and cheese recipe because I didn't
Okay.
know how to make a roux. Made it perfect. My mac and cheese was bomb. And then in the meantime, she makes the birds. She cooked the birds. I did a couple of the sides. She did a couple of the sides.
Okay.
And she was like, "So should I make like a gravy out of this?" Because there was like plenty of like drippings and all that stuff. And I was like, "Do a roux." And like taught her how to make a roux in 5 seconds. So she used the Cornish game hen dripping to make a quick brown sauce that we
Yeah,
put over the mashed potatoes and the Cornish game hens. Worked out fine. It
that's
was awesome.
fantastic. Did you drain the fat? Because that's
That's what
like
made the roux. It
well,
was
no, I'm like the juices versus the like the not the fat. Sorry, the there's like the juices. There's a layer of fat and like the actual like physical part. Like if you put it into there's a fat separator contraption you can buy, or you can put it into a Ziploc baggie. Then you like put the Ziploc baggie into into like in like a large like mug or
mhm.
whatever you do. So if you let it sit for about 20 or 30 minutes, it separates. So then you can cut the bottom and you just get the juice and you don't get as much fat.
Well, I
It's
mean, so they're Cornish game hens, so there wasn't really a whole lot of
not a
fat to
lot,
begin
yeah.
with, and so it was literally just like the drippings that came off during cooking, partly oil, partly seasoning, partly, hen,
Sure.
and then butter and flour,
Yeah.
and it worked out fine. So no, I'm sure if we were using something that was like fattier, it would be a
Yeah.
bigger concern. But on Thanksgiving, it was like it literally this was like a 5 second conversation. I
Yeah.
was like, you can do a roux, and she was like, how do you do it? And I was like, do this, this, and
Yep.
this, and we had gravy in 10 minutes. So
Yep.
there wasn't there wasn't enough time for the quick conversation of like, should I drain the? No, there wasn't any of
Well,
that.
if you're doing like a full turkey and you got a lot of that juices, like it really does help in that case. Like I had
Yeah.
like a large Ziploc baggie. It was like, I mean, I'm not gonna measure it, but I'd say like maybe close to not a quart, but like maybe half a quart, like a couple pints of juices. And when you separate it, it's like like 2/3 of it was like perfect good juices, and the rest was like, eh. So that's how you do it.
Did you get any holiday gaming in?
I did. I can't remember if it was before. I think it was after we did the show. I beat Miles.
You sent me a message a little bit more emotional than I was expecting you to be. You're not
Yeah.
not saying that you're an emotionless person. It's just that's not normally the kind of message that I get from you.
Sure.
So tell me about how this affected you.
Like okay, I posted about it. I tweeted. I posted on Facebook. I should have messaged on our actual channel as well. But it hit me emotionally. So do we? I'm not gonna. Should I not do spoilers on this? I don't know how to.
No, probably not.
I'm not gonna spoil it. So the story in this, I think you and I agreed on this. The story in the Miles Morales game is much more tight and concise than the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game. PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game is great. This is like condensed. It's like watching a good movie as opposed to a series. There's a lot that's in the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. This is just like a nice tight game. There's a lot of stuff to do, but the story was concise. There wasn't a lot of filler in the main story.
You can beat it in 5 hours in New Game Plus if you're going for that plat.
And that's what I'm doing right now. And I did actually make the mistake of creating a new game instead of going to the New Game Plus save that it creates. Because when you say, I want to do new Game Plus, it's like, cool. And then it has your game, New Game Plus, and then like I was like, do I create? I don't understand what's going on. So I created one, and that's so I made the mistake of creating a regular. I'm in New Game Plus now. I got most of the trophies without getting a new Game Plus. There's ones you can't get until you get into New Game Plus.
Can't get max level.
Can't get max level. You can't get all of the gadgets. You can't get all the suits. So I'm going to basically blast through the story and then figure out how much tech and such I need to get the rest of the unlockables, and then I'll beat the game. And like you said, 5 hours or so on New Game Plus. New Game Plus, by the way, I don't know if you've played it yet. Mm-hmm. New Game Plus, you're OP. I mean, because you start the game with all your powers. And
you can play it on easy for the plat, can't you?
You can, and that's actually what I did, because I'm like, you know what? I had fun. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna just put it on easy. I'm just mowing through people, mowed through Rhino. No big deal.
Did you do the stealth thing yet? Because I know that's a trophy, right? You got to do a stealth, whatever, base or whatever they call it.
I don't know.
I thought that was one of the trophies you have to do, like a completely stealth base.
I'll have to look.
Okay.
I believe I have. I think I got all. I think there's only like a couple that I missed, which are like do 25 ceiling grabs, whatever it's called. I can't remember it's the stealth thing.
Knockouts.
When you're on the ceiling and you grab them, the wall ones where you grab them. I'd been doing the ones where you're kind of hanging on a perch, on a rafter, on a rail. I was doing those. Those are my bread and butter.
Yeah.
But actually getting onto the wall and then doing it took a little bit more. I think the one that I thought would be the hardest that wasn't was the 100 combo.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a couple tries just because I would.
Where'd you go to do that?
I go into I think it was Harlem West. It was one of the compounds.
Okay.
And then I just, instead of doing my normal, because normally I'm all about stealth, so I try to get as much people as I can, stealth them, and then go in. Yeah. And instead, I just literally just jumped in, and then just picked a fight.
Oh, and on easy mode, your counter meter doesn't, or your like combo meter doesn't reset.
Bingo. So what I actually did was I almost completed the game, And then I went, I got some trophies. Why don't I do these while I'm doing the regular game as opposed to New Game Plus?
Yeah.
Make it a little easier. So I lowered the difficulty, because you lower the difficulty during that. Lower the difficulty and went through the combos. I went through the stealth ones because that would make it easier. Like you said, the combos doesn't reduce, and you can't get knocked out or knocked. I can't remember if it's knocked out or knocked down, but it's not that you can't lose, but it's a lot harder to lose.
I might try it again then, because there was one that I just didn't feel like doing, and I thought that it was one where you had to complete. I thought there was one that said you had to complete like an entire base in stealth, and I just didn't feel like doing that. Not that I'm like opposed to stealth. I actually do a lot of stealth too. It's just that I hate those moments where you like all of a sudden fall down, because not that they're not clunky, but you know what I'm saying? Like where like all of a sudden you're like trying to web across and then you just find yourself on the ground, and then there's just this dude that's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. I think I am seeing it. It's called Never Saw It Coming. And I'm double checking. I believe I got it, and I did not try for that one. I just happened to really like stealth. That was not one that I was actually hunting. I'm not normally a trophy hunter. For those who actually watch our show know that I don't normally do this, but I figured it's fun. Sackboy, I'm doing the same thing. Astros is the one that kind of got me into it. I did get it. Never saw it coming. I did get that trophy. And I did do it on one of the bases. I think it was one of the Roxxon bases. By the way, did you catch the voice actor for? I don't know if you caught like the voice of anything on that. No. A bunch of people were like, "Oh, it's too, it was too easy to spot." It's Troy Baker, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just gonna double check.
For which guy?
He's the villain.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, he's in everything. Can we get some new? I'm not downing Troy Baker. He's awesome. He's great. It's just a thing of like Simon Krieger he voiced.
Yeah. People were slamming it because they were like, "Oh, it's obvious it was him." To me, I thought Simon looked way too much like Topher Grace. That was the only thing that kind of threw me off. I saw him and I was like, "Is this like a?"
The thing that's stupid about that kind of bashing, it's like, okay, does that mean that you're never going to watch another Leonardo DiCaprio movie? Because it's obvious that it's Leonardo DiCaprio in every single movie, because you can see him right there, right? Sure. I mean, he's a voice actor. What do you want him to do?
Well, like a lot of Troy's work and a lot of other voice actors, like they blend into the role, but at the same time, Nolan North's great. Don't get me wrong, Nolan North's a great voice actor. You listen to Nolan North and you're like, that's him. Like he's got that tone, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, you look at like Laura Bailey, and like there's a lot of times where you're just like, if you didn't know, like, because I follow her on Twitter, so I know when she's in a role. But like, there's times where I didn't realize that it was her in Spider-Man at first, because she's in Spider-Man 2018. She plays Mary Jane.
That's right.
And like, I couldn't tell that right away, and then. There was something else where, like, I know she's in The Last of Us too, but there was something else where I was like, oh, cool. I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah. And we had Ashley Birch in Miles, which was.
Oh, she was?
Yep.
I didn't know that. Yep. That's awesome. I love Ashley Birch.
Double check that because I was like, hold on. Yeah, she was, right? I'm going to double check that as I said it. I believe she was she's the podcaster. Double checking that now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's Danica Hart. She's the podcaster. Cool. Which
I didn't recognize her.
Didn't catch it.
Normally, she's a very recognizable voice.
She is.
Not bashing her. She's a great actress. I just normally she doesn't do a whole lot of voice change.
Sure. Where Laura Bailey, a lot of times I don't recognize her.
Right.
In roles, she kind of blends into it. What have you been doing gaming wise though?
I've been playing some RPGs a little bit, man. On my Xbox Series X, I've been playing a little bit of Final Fantasy 13, the great 2009 RPG. I actually say great, and this game is not actually a game that I actually remember enjoying at all. I know that I only played it for a few hours, and so. I'm exposing the greatness of this machine right here for a moment. I definitely wanted to talk about it because just like Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, I I didn't like it as a kid. I dismissed the art style in Wind Waker, and that was stupid of me. But I was a kid. I wanted Twilight Princess is what I
Yeah.
wanted after, Majora's and Ocarina. While with Final Fantasy 13, I'm used to open world Final Fantasy. I'm
Mhm.
used to this thing of like you get to kind of go wherever you want. Well, so far, and I'm 4 or 5 hours into 13, it's still what that is. It's not open world at all. It's very linear. You go from one place to the next, and I dismissed that as a kid, and so I wanted to go back to as an adult. They've optimized it for the One X, so that carries over to your Series X. It's playing in 4K, dude. This 2009
That's
game
so cool.
looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
11 years later, it looks beautiful. It looks better than a lot of like PS4 and Xbox One games.
That's
Uh,
amazing to me. Like, and this is, by the way, this is the Series X opening because
yeah,
I know you didn't get a chance to do some screen grab or
no,
some
it's so
captures, and I saw some online, but I felt just disingenuous.
sure.
We try to keep it legit here, and if it's either official trailers or something like that, so I didn't want to use someone else's gameplay. But this looked amazing for a game that is technically 2 generations behind now.
Yeah, this is a
This
360 game,
it's the
360
360 game.
PS3. And I'm blown away with how it looks. The voice and stuff, I still kind of remember like what I disliked about some of that. There's a little bit of cheesiness in the script, but I'm enjoying the combat a lot more than I remember. Again, this is a thing where it's just I remember I played maybe 3 hours of
Sure.
this game, and I just was annoyed that they just made me walk straight. There
Yeah.
was no.
It is the great corridor that
Yeah,
irritated a lot of people. You're right. I mean, it's not the open world. You wanna, and I agree with you. Like even Final Fantasy VII, which is the best Final Fantasy game, even Final Fantasy VII, even when you're just in Midgar, you still have some exploration you can do. It's not
yeah.
quite a corridor, and then it opens up completely. Final Fantasy VII Remake ended up being a little bit more of a corridor than I would have liked, but I digress. The next part, I promise myself that it'll be better. Not better. It'll be more open world. I think it's just, now that we've left Midgar, it has to open up in the sequel. You don't think so? You don't think it's gonna open
No,
up?
sorry. If you're watching the video of this podcast and you see my camera shaking and stuff, it's because my cat decided for the
Oh,
first time ever he wants to crawl in this one shelf that he's never crawled in before, and so he's shaking it. So I actually missed your question. Sorry.
no. I was just gonna say I think that in comparison, Final Fantasy VII Remake ended up being a little bit more corridored than we
It
would have
is.
liked. But I'm stating that the next part I believe will open up similar to how the original did.
I don't
You
know.
may not think so, but
I don't. I think there will be some open world aspects because I think there has to be, but I think it's still going to be pretty linear, and I think that that's one thing that actually I think Seven Remake actually had an influence on me buying this game. So this is again available through the powers of backwards compatibility. I bought a 360 game that I'm playing on my Series X, and some people have criticized me for that. Like, you bought your Series X and you're playing an 11-year-old game and you think that it's awesome. I'm saying yes, I
yeah.
absolutely do. I can't do this on my PS4. There's so many PS3 games that I would love to play on PS4, not through PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much. I would like to be able to go into the PlayStation Store, buy Resistance, buy that trilogy, and play it. Insomniac. There's a thing in there where this is awesome to me, and they made it look great. It looks like a Series X game, and I'm playing it with quick resume.
Yeah.
So I'm jumping into my Call of Duty games. I'm jumping into some Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is the other game that I jumped to. And
Yeah.
I am sorry for those that do follow the channel. It's just a little bit more annoying to stream on the series. That's a definite knock that I have on the system, that it's not intuitive to just go start streaming. But I managed to nab a deal for Yakuza. It was apparently only there for like 30 minutes because I told Patrick about it and he checked like an hour later, and either they were all sold out or the deal just didn't exist anymore. So I got it for $40 instead of 60. This is my first Yakuza game. Apparently they took out the action-based combat, and it's now a turn-based role-playing game, which is different. And there's a lot of talking. Have you ever played a Yakuza game?
I haven't. I've been meaning to check it out. I do, and now that I
Yakuza
know,
Zero on Game Pass.
yep. So I'll probably have to check that out. I've heard great things about it. I've heard great things about the variance in the story, about the how different each chapter or not chapter, each iteration is. You know, it's not a sequel where it's like rehashing the same thing over and over again.
Kind of Final Fantasy-esque.
Final
Or
Fantasy
Dragon
has.
Quest, you know.
Or I would argue, in a sense, somewhat like the Grand Theft Auto series, because Grand Theft Auto 4 is not like 5, is not
Sure.
like San Andreas. They're similar, but the tone is different. Obviously, generationally, are different. But the stories are different and everything. So I've heard nothing but good things. I should probably check out Yakuza 0. Game Pass.
Or Kiwami.
Yeah. Game Pass. I would say I wanted to. I guess this is actually maybe a good time to pivot to talk about some of the updates on Xbox before we start gushing about PlayStation again, because that's what we end up doing all the time.
I mean, honestly, I have a lot to gush about with Xbox right now, except I did want to mention I had a bad experience, and this I don't think this is on Microsoft at all. I think that this is a problem with Treyarch, because I did go look it up and I shared this with Patrick, but I was playing Call of Duty, so I jumped out. I've been messing with my quick resume. That's what I wanted to do. So I bought Yakuza on a disc, so I wanted to test the quick resume with the disc so that I could talk about it tonight. And so I jump out and I go play Call of Duty match. Works fine, everything. I don't jump back out because you can't just play one Call of Duty match, right? You can't do it. It's just like playing one Battlefront match. You got to play at least 2 or 3. My second game loads. I start to pick my loadout, black screen. And I'm like, oh no, is it just completely frozen? I walk over to my Xbox. My Xbox is completely shut off.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before in my life, in the history of consoles. Like, you know, there's the red ring and stuff. That's a thing.
Yeah.
But I've never seen the console shut off. My console is not enclosed, so don't go overheating. I touched it. It was fine.
Yeah.
There was definitely no overheating going on, at least, you know, and from what I know, I'm pretty sure there's a warning that pops up to let you know that that's going to happen.
Xbox One, Xbox One X and Xbox Series X both will warn you.
Yeah.
The screen will tell you, similar to your phone. I don't know if anybody I'm sure some other people out there have done that, but you have your phone, like maybe you're driving or something, the sun's hitting it too long, gives you a warning.
Correct.
My phone starts saying, hey, I'm shutting off your Wi-Fi, I'm shutting off this, shutting off that. Xbox just shuts off. It's like, hey, you're overheated. And it turns itself off to not bake itself.
Right.
So you didn't even get that, because that's the first thing that I thought was, oh, it overheated.
Right.
Check. By the way, if you're checking the sides, it's good. Check the top, that concave. That's where the exhaust is. So if it's pretty warm there, it could be have been overheating. But yours was not.
No. So I push the button, it restarts. It crashed all of my quick resumes. So I definitely had Final Fantasy 13 going. I had Dead Cells, and I had Yakuza Like a Dragon. I want to get like 3 or 4 games going. Sure. I haven't been. I did confirm Final Fantasy 13 works quick resume, because I've jumped back and forth between that and Call of Duty.
Excellent.
But this was the first time I was going to be using a disc-based game to test it out, because as we discussed, I'm trying to avoid buying disc-based games this generation, but how do you pass up on a $40 AAA game at launch? Like in that launch month, I couldn't do it, so I bought it.
Yeah. I was gonna buy it. It was like that was one that I was like, I don't know if I want to buy. $40. Yeah, I think.
It's just the fact that it was just the AAA thing. If they put Immortals Phoenix Rising, which the reviews just came out for $40, or if they even put Godfall, which I haven't heard great things about, if they put any of these AAA games at $40 in that first month, I'm probably gonna do it for this first year, just because.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to try that out, but I did go on Activision's website. This is a thing, so I just want to put it out there for anybody who might be playing Call of Duty via Xbox. And I know that the PlayStation 5 version has some problems as well, but I'm going to test this out tonight or tomorrow, depending on what level of gaming we get to. They say if you turn off the ray tracing, it may solve your problem. Another one on Activision's website, though, they said turn off your 4K. And I was like, no,
Oh.
that's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna turn off ray tracing because that's not as huge of a loss. But I'm in new gen, baby.
Yeah.
Like I'm not playing no 1080. What is this? What is
Okay.
this, PS4? No.
So I did have a similar thing after beating Miles, by the way. So that feeling, right? Of I'm now in next gen, right? I've been playing PS5, been playing Xbox Series X. By the way, my Xbox One X, it's out. It would be out of frame here, but I've mounted it in the bedroom because we have a TV
She
in the
wanted
bedroom.
the Assassin's Creed bedroom
So
edition.
now it's like you got bedroom edition exactly. I was
Yeah.
like, now you got options. But I've been on the next gen, and
This is how you stay married, folks.
you gotta you know what? It's partnership. It's making sure the other person anticipate what they want. Like she wasn't going. She was thinking about it, and I was like, hey, how would you feel if I did this? And she was like, oh, you don't have to do that. I'm like, no, it's cool. Because how often am I going to play it in here versus is she going to play it in there? If she's going to play in there, I can go in the living room. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So anyways, I've been next genning for almost a month now. It's been 3 weeks of next gen. I'm playing Miles Morales, right? New Game Plus. And I said, I'm going to switch over to fidelity mode because I wanted to see it. I've been playing in performance mode. Switch over to fidelity. I'm like, okay, it's pretty. I'm watching the opening cutscene. I'm like, it's pretty. Okay. And then I start web swinging in 30 frames a second. I've been spoiled by 60 frames now. Now I know why the PC people are like, are talking about like, oh, I can't believe you do 30 frames. Like
I played the whole game in fidelity.
So it's not bad, but having played it in the web swinging itself, right? Everything else was okay. I was gonna say that's the part that got me.
I did notice an immediate thing with Spider-Man Remastered. So I
haven't started that yet.
I cheesed my plat, but I was like, let's just swing around because I know that it's already in 60 frames.
Okay.
There's an immediate noticeable difference.
Yes.
It's stupid how noticeable it is whenever you do it, because the reason why I played the whole game in fidelity is like the first time in Miles where you stick to a building, and especially because I was showing my wife, like she's like, so what's next gen about this? I went and stuck to a building and you see the building behind me reflected off the building, and that's that whole like this is in a video game making it look like real life. That's the part where I just didn't let it go. But immediately playing Spider-Man Remastered, I was like, I think if I go for the Miles Plat, I'm gonna have to switch it because there's an immediate thing of just like, it's snappy, it's crisp, it's like perfect.
Yep.
Perfect web swinging like you're talking about. I know that we've been talking a lot of just kind of going off the rails these past few weeks, and if you've been listening, I appreciate it. It's partly because there just isn't as much news right now, but also just because we're still just getting into this thing. Like, this is only the beginning, man. We're not even a month in. You realize that? You realize that we're not? It's not even December 10th yet.
I was about to say, like, that's what I stopped myself. I was like, I'm in a month playing. Wait, no, it's like 3 weeks. I've also, and it's a slight tangent on this, but been playing Demon Souls, and not only did Blue Point do a great job on this, but one of the things about the Souls games is kind of discovering things like that are hidden. Because the game doesn't tell you about everything, different Easter eggs and stuff. And I figured you probably didn't hear about this, but people playing the game and streaming, and people who are playing way more than I'm playing, as in they've beaten the game like 3-4 times at this point. They discovered that Blue Point put a hidden door. Okay, I don't know if you saw this. So the hidden doors was added by Blue Point, and the collective internets figured out how to unlock the door.
It's very Ready Player One.
It's exactly what I was thinking. Very Ready Player One. Everyone kind of scoured it and pooled their stuff together. I don't know who the first person technically is to get it, but now the thing that was cool to me is not only people got it and people put videos of like them getting it and talking about it, but other people put together like straight up guides where they're like, okay, this is how you have to do it, and it's extensive in order to get this. And it's an armor set that you can get if you do these things. And Demon Souls is one of those games where there's a lot of weird things that if you do certain things in a certain order, in a certain way, it affects the world tendency, meaning the world gets more white or more black in regards to good or bad. And different events happen, but the game doesn't tell you. There's not like a quest that you can track. So this is just another layer of that, which shows Bluepoint knows whatever they're making. Bluepoint's like, I know what you want. I got you. Here's another thing for you to find. I wouldn't doubt if there's more to this. As one of the rumors is, there's a sound that's played. I can't remember exactly where it is in Demon Souls, but there's a sound that's played that people have analyzed, and they said that it is from Metal Gear Solid.
There's a lot of things going on around right now that could be Bluepoint's next game.
That would be, and it would be amazing. I know I tweeted, I texted you about it, and I'm like, I'm gushing because that game's amazing. I think I texted you, I want to believe. like it may not be true, but that game is so good. And similar to how we now have people playing Demon Souls who didn't get to play it. They played Dark Souls 3, they played Bloodborne, and this is the first time they played Demon Souls. This game holds up into next gen in a way that going back to PlayStation 3 doesn't feel quite right. But go back to PlayStation 1 and play Metal Gear Solid. I almost said first Metal Gear Solid, but play Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 1. That does not add up. That game is 24 years old at this point.
They would have to change some things too, like the
Psycho
fight.
Mantis?
Yeah, the Psycho Mantis fight.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you would do that necessarily, because like you can't unlink your controller and link it as like a second player. So you know, do you have a second controller that's required to beat Metal Gear Solid? No, you'd have to change that somehow.
I think I have a feeling like they changed that in one of the remaster or re-release, whatever.
Possible.
I have a feeling they changed it. The big thing for me is the other bit of the Psycho Mantis fight is that he back in the day he read your memory card. And so, like, now, what I think would be funny is, like, if instead of reading your memory card, it was reading your achievements or your trophies, where it's like, oh, you got the platinum on this, or you got or you got a lot of trophies on Spider-Man. It's like, what? Because not only can you see what you've been playing, but it'd be really cool if it looked at your achievements.
It'd be funny if he shamed you though, where he's like, "You only got 1% in Ghost of Tsushima. What's your problem? Why did you not finish that game?"
He would shame me every time in that case. I'm terrible at that. I have so many games that I'm like, if I look at the not at like the trophy percentage, which trophy percentage like may not even, you can beat the game and maybe get like 14%. I've got so many that it's like 1%.
There's so many one trophy games.
Yep.
Like Bug Snacks, I think I have two trophies in right now because I just haven't been playing it as much. The only thing that about Metal Gear Solid with Bluepoint, I want them to, because they're so great at remakes, I want them to remake a game that I want to play.
Sure.
Now, if they did remake Metal Gear Solid, I'm a lot more apt to play that than I am a Demon Souls. I want, like, if they remade, like, I don't know, Castlevania 64 or something, you know, if they remade like a Castlevania game, I would probably jump on that versus Metal Gear Solid. Really, I want EA, or really I want Disney to be like, you know, sorry, BioWare, you can't have KOTOR back. We're just gonna give KOTOR to Bluepoint. That's the game that I want at this point. Because I just think Bluepoint's so good at what they do. They're so good at remakes. Like, you can just give them anything, really. But I want their next game to be one that I want to experience. And Metal Gear Solid just isn't that on that list. But there's a lot of stuff floating around that may be where it goes.
Sure.
So we'll see.
I mean, I hope that it is. But you're exactly right. Whatever they touch they not necessarily turns to gold, but they have this respect for the source material.
They treat it with care.
They really do. They really do.
I've been getting a lot of people in on the Shadow of Colossus remake lately. I've had 3 people that I know play it in the last couple weeks, and that's one that I can like recommend with ease. That if you never experienced the original, and the original is fine to experience too, but the new one just looks so much better. They didn't change very much at all to it, where I can easily point to that.
Yeah, same with Demon Souls. I mean, they didn't change. Well, they it's just all enhanced. It's like there's a lot of new visuals, but it's so much the design is the same, and that's what I really appreciate about it. We talked, by the way, last week talking about, or not last week, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about PlayStation Plus. Like we got Bug Snacks for free. We got the PlayStation Collection for
still free through the end of the year, by the way.
Exactly. And PlayStation Collection, do not lend your PlayStation account to someone to go grab that, by the way. People are getting banned because if you log into a PlayStation, you can just start adding those to your account.
So the thing is that there were people selling them.
Yes,
on
they were
eBay.
selling access. Yeah.
And so I think that if you were to go do it for like your brother or something, your cousin, your good friend, no, Sony doesn't care. It's the fact, like, if you're going to blatantly go on Reddit and be like, hey, 50 people, do you want to, like, do you want me to sign in and give you my PlayStation? Like, don't do that.
Yeah, well, because I've had a couple people ask about, like, remote play. Like, they weren't saying, like, hey, can I get into the store? They were saying, can I remote play and see, and can I play Demon Souls from my PC or my PlayStation 4? Can I play off your PS5? And I'm like, you could. And as soon as I saw that news thing come in, I'm like, let me check and let me make sure I understand the story. And then since there were 2 people that were talking about that, I was like, if I do, I'm gonna give you access at one point and maybe wait a bit and like give another person access, so that way
I don't think that's a problem.
You know, it's a little that way they wouldn't flag me in any way. But strangely enough, I tried to. Actually, Kevin was one of those, and could not access the PlayStation 5 from his account. I can access it from mine, but I gave him like the code. It does a little handshake. I even signed on to his account with my controller and all that. Still didn't work. So don't know if they were.
I think you would have to use your account.
Yeah, so
because you're the primary account on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I'll have to try it again. But either way, I mean, I played it remotely. It was okay, but
it worked fine.
I'm curious how it would be. Like, I'm gonna take a trip to Dallas, and when I take my trip in there, I'm like, maybe I'll see how the PlayStation plays from from living room. I don't know.
I've done it in my own house, and it works fine. It's all going to be based on your internet. It's a lot better if it's on a local network, as opposed to one. So if your parents or your in-laws, whoever you're visiting, has a good connection, you might be able to do something.
It's pretty good. Their download's okay. Their upload, I don't know if it's that great, but my upload is what would matter. Is that's what's pushing to there. So strangely enough, I think I told you about this. I played remote play PlayStation 5 on my PlayStation 4 and remote played my PlayStation 4 off my PlayStation 5, playing Arkham Asylum on my PlayStation 5. Remote playing off the PlayStation 4 was terrible. I don't know why, but I got on my PlayStation 4 and started playing Demon Souls, and it was okay. So
interesting.
I don't know.
I played just a little bit of Miles on my phone, but like earlier this year, I played almost all of Horizon via remote play on my phone. So, like, there's still something to that where if you need it in a thing to play some one player whatever, and you want to just do, you know, either like some simple open world or something like that. I wouldn't do anything that's just too like action heavy. Like, and I know Horizon has plenty of action. Sorry.
Sure.
I know Horizon has plenty of action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, Demons, like, I played a little bit. I was like, okay, this is okay. I'm not going to continue.
Yeah.
Because just a quarter second delay is going to will ruin play, and I'll die at that point. It's like playing fighters. It's like playing like Street Fighter or something. You can't get any lag on that. So,
But what you were going to mention before, as we do on the show, there is another PS5 game that we are getting as a part of PS Plus. So continue to watch out for those. Now it's not a big one.
no.
It's Worms Rumble, the long Worms franchise. Have you ever been a Worms guy? I'm not much.
I've played very little. I
Okay.
need to jump into it. Actually, one of my coworkers, I it's not that I'm like the consummate professional, but I try to stick to my work while I'm at work. I think
I'm just kidding.
well, partially because like I was in bands a lot, and I was like, I'm not gonna go and schlep my band around, like try to get people to go like at work to go to see my band. I was like, I won't do that. So, like, there's a guy I've been working with for almost a year, and he didn't know I had a podcast. He didn't know like that we've been doing this or anything. And now he's like, oh crap! So we talked gaming. We're talking about PC builds, and he really enjoys this. He got hooked on one of the previous Worms games. So I'm curious about this one for him though, because this is not time strategy, as the others are more strategy than this one. I don't know if I feel like if I jump in on this one, having not played one in so long, I don't know if this is the right one to try that on, but it's free, so
It's free.
I'll probably do it.
Any free games the right one to try it on, man. That's where I'm talking about. And
Game Pass, man.
I sent you, I added this to the store, so I'm just going to jump to it.
Sure.
With the Xbox update that you probably already have, whether on your One X or your One S, whatever, your Xbox, as long as you have an Xbox right now that is in last gen or this new gen, there's an update now available that allows preloading for upcoming Game Pass games.
Yeah, let me bring that up here because I loaded up all the things because some of them were ones.
Yeah,
that
sorry, I
I'd
jumped
seen.
in.
No, you're good. You're good. Some of them were ones that I'd seen. The pre-install was great. I wanted to actually talk about.
I already pre-installed two things.
That's cool. See, like the pre-installing, that's fantastic. I need to check. I need to confirm that I have my. I'm pretty sure I have my Xbox set up to download onto my external drive if applicable. So you pre-installed two that are coming up on Game Pass.
Yeah, so there's the ones that I put on our facebook.com/TheLanCave. I pre-installed Haven. That comes out in 6 days, and then I pre-installed the Call of the Sea, I think it's called, which I only learned about today, by the way. I literally just I watched the trailer. I saw that it was an adventure game, and I said done. And it looks right up my alley. It looks very walking sim-ish. There might be some puzzles to it or something, but it looks like walking sim adventure, and we know Owen loves a good adventure game. So I did that. Patrick's got it up on the screen if you're watching the video version right now. Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition is coming to Game Pass. You can pre-install that baby right now.
I think I need to. That like Dragon Quest is.
Did you play it when it came out?
I didn't, and I have no
fantastic.
reason as to not play this game.
It's fantastic.
To play those games, yeah. So I think I'm gonna
It's
get
long,
that pre-installed.
but it's fantastic.
I'm gonna get that pre-installed.
Wait, let me ask you: have you played Persona 5?
I have not.
So if you're gonna play, they're both long, Dragon Quest.
Right? Yeah.
Well, they're both 100-hour JRPGs, and I can speak highly of both of them. I will say if you were going to and the only reason I bring it up is because Persona 5 is available on the PlayStation Plus collection. If you're going to play one JRPG that is that long, I would go with Persona 5.
Okay.
I think, but again, if you're a longtime Square person, you're a longtime Dragon Quest person, go with Dragon Quest XI. You can't go wrong. It's literally one of the best of the franchise, in my opinion.
And those are both franchises I have not gotten into, and they're ones that I know had I have ample amount of time, and I know we've talked about this on the show a long time. Some people are going to retire and read books. I have a backlog of games that I'm going to be playing, and I can't wait because I love the games that I'm playing, and I have a lot of games that I'm going to play. I know I'm going to get into it at one point, like Secret of Mana and that kind of stuff, where I'm like, at one point I'm gonna crack this novel.
Sorry, I just had a very dark thought in my head of like being in their like the retirement home, and they're just gonna find me dead with a controller in my
Yeah,
hands. Like
yeah.
that's how I'm gonna go out. It's
But
just
I mean, it's all right. I mean, you got the
there's
controller. You're
worse
still
ways to
gaming,
go.
dude. You're still gaming at that point. I mean, come on, you haven't given up on the dream. I mean, like I said, like some people read. I read as well. You read more than I do.
Not
But
this year.
what's that?
Not this year. It's been all
Not this
gaming
year?
this
Oh,
year.
okay. I was saying because I know you're reading a lot more than me. I may be outpulsing you at that point, but yeah, that may happen. That may happen. And there's if I can still game, and I'm able to enjoy myself, I'm fine with that. I wanted to point out some. Go ahead.
I was gonna go back to it since we keep jumping off it, and again, bear with we love you if you're listening to us. Thanks a lot. I just think that the fact that they're allowing preloads on Game Pass games is
Yeah.
again just a great quality of life thing. That it's gonna be games that show up in the coming soon section. Right now, if you go into the app, I only see 2 games, but I was able to do Haven. Um, by searching for it. So if there is a game that that you see pops up, on like Twitter or something like, hey, this game's coming to Game Pass, go into your app, go search it, see if it allows you to do that download. It's going to give you a notification that says something to the effect of like, if you don't own this game, we're going to charge you for it.
Yeah.
But it trust me so far, and I'm going to reconfirm it next week. I'll double check, but I have not been charged for Haven because it's a part of Game Pass. So I'm gonna check my Xbox this week. Hopefully, it pre-downloaded like it's
Yeah.
supposed to, and it just recognizes the fact that you're a Game Pass member and everything. So
Yeah, I
everything
hope
like
so.
that.
If you hit pre-install, I hope that's still that's still kosher at that point. But yeah, keep us posted on that because that's slick for Game Pass to be like it's coming day one, so why not have it ready day one, just like if I bought it.
Right.
I wanted to point out a couple things that I thought were cool here as well. The adding family members. I want to check because it's talking about adding family members. So Whitney has a barely used Xbox account. She ends up logging into my account for the cloud saves. Now with the family accounts, I was wondering if you knew this. Do you know if that means that they use your cloud save or no? I don't know if you know that.
Like if it's on the console, I think so.
Yeah. So
I think they can.
So she was logged in, or sorry, when our Xbox had a hard drive failure a while ago, we got a new hard drive, and none of her saves carried over. Like none of her saves in cloud save because she didn't have a gold.
Oh, I mean,
maybe she didn't have it set
no,
up.
she's not. I mean, if she doesn't have the save, then she can't.
Yeah.
Use
So
it.
so she's been using my account for that reason because she doesn't
I
care about like the
understand.
achievements and stuff. And I'm like, that's fine. Get me a couple achievements. I'm fine with that.
I let her play on like I originally was going to create her own, but then she plays these games that I don't want to play and gets me trophies that
not
we're
gonna
not achievement hunters here. It's just
Yeah.
a thing of like it's that little gratification thing of I like seeing the number go up.
Yeah.
And so she plays some game like House Flipper that I'm never ever going to
Yeah.
touch that I bought specifically with her in mind. It's like, yeah, give me the trophies. That's cool.
Yeah, you didn't buy it for the trophies. You bought it with her in mind, and then
Yeah.
getting trophies is icing. Yeah. I would say I'm not that I'm trying to do it for trophies, but I am trying to get Whitney to do the in like Assassin's Creed to like find all of the whatevers. It was like these different data packets or something that like. And I was like, hey, I can look it up on a map if you want to like just go around for a bit, go around the world for a bit and do that. And she's like, I don't want to. And then I kid you not, the next day, I'm in the office. I come out of the office. She's playing Assassin's Creed, and I see she's looking on her phone. It wasn't that, but she was looking up map locations for something. She's like, I'm just gonna get all these things, and I'm like, that's what I was like trying to encourage her to do that because I was like, this would be cool for us to do together. She did it on her own, which is very much her. She's very independent with that case. I can't get onto her. One thing I did think was interesting though about on this list, there were some interesting things, but they had this one that popped up. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna talk about the one that I liked.
When you say this
before
one, what are
that.
you talking about?
Sorry, I was talking about the one that I liked before that. You've got the Xbox optimized X versus X and S on that.
Fantastic.
I noticed this a while ago, by the way, but it is technically news, whatever. Going to Game Pass. Sorry, I'm pointing over here. go into Game Pass and look at those X's and S's. So anything that if you have an Xbox One S or X, hopefully an X, you can download any of these, and it is an optimized version. So it's an easy way, if you have Game Pass, to just say, let me try out something that shines. Gears 5 looks really good. Gears Tactics looks pretty good too, which I didn't think would look that great, but it does. The one thing that I was gonna pop in and say I thought was meh is this over in the corner here, far corner, auto HDR. So that is Xbox's way of trying to enhance a title that is not already enhanced by a developer. So it is not actually HDR. They're trying to bump the colors, bump the contrast a little bit for you. It's an automatic thing. It's not bad, but I wish there was a way to disable this, and I haven't found a way to do that yet. Because I feel like it's not quite what I want out of it.
Yeah.
And I'd prefer to have a little toggle like within the settings. So maybe I'm wrong and I didn't see it, but I haven't seen the way to turn it off yet. It's not bad. Like I said, it's not overblown, ridiculously saturated colors, but I think it's a little much for me.
Is it weird that I'm like being snobby about everything, and where like I haven't downloaded anything that doesn't have some optimization for at least 1x? Like one of the things that drew me towards Final Fantasy 13. Like, first of all, it's not optimized for Xbox Series X, but that's because they optimized it for 1x,
which is still going to look
couple
good
years ago. I think it was either last year or the year before. They optimized it for 1x. It's already in 4K and running at 4K 60. That's pretty much a Series X game at that point. I'm literally looking for these things that say optimized for something, don't be necessarily turned off if you're going through a thing and you don't see the XS symbol. Go ahead and click on it. If you're like me and you're just wanting those things, see what it was made for. Was it made for something older and they optimized it for 1x? Cool. Yes. Is it a 1x like optimized game? Then it's probably still going to look awesome, and that just means your load times are going to be next to nothing also. So I haven't seen anything on the auto HDR front, but that's because everything I'm playing is 4K.
I was going to say that everything, same thing for me. And I think I want to look up because I'm that guy. I want to look up and see what games trigger that, or maybe download a couple and see if it'll pop up, and see if I can download that game on Xbox Series X and Xbox One X and see what, like, because I've seen some side by side and they were like, ooh, it looks better. And I'm like, that red's a little cartoony, like, and it shouldn't be, like, as opposed to the red and the Blair Witch thing right up there. I keep pointing the wrong direction. The red and the Blair Witch over there is purposely oversaturated.
I think you can turn it off, because it says if when the auto HDR setting is turned on your console, so that means you probably just have to go in the video settings somewhere.
I'll have to look and see if there's auto. I guess maybe I missed that.
There's like a setting. There's something in there where there's like these like video settings that do its own thing, and you can tell it to do its own thing or not. The only thing is, like, can I do auto HDR? Like, can I do auto HDR for the home screen? Because that's what I want. Can you just show me the home screen?
Yeah. Okay, so if there is an auto HDR, I'm going to turn it off. So, like, my TV has an auto HDR. So if it gets standard def, it tries to make it, like, kind of oversaturated. But the regular HDR, like, really good, like, I put in Avengers Endgame, and I looked at it with auto HDR thinking, oh, it's not going to do anything because it sees HDR. No, it's like it looked cartoony. I mean, some people may have been okay with it, but to me it didn't look right. It didn't look like when they were editing and everything. But let's end this show on a high note, on something that one day we can go see. So Super Mario World in Tokyo, and what you're seeing here,
it makes me want to cry.
Yeah. What blew me away was I saw some pictures of this, right? So this is by the way, this is the trailer from Universal in Japan. Blew me away because I thought the pictures, the images that I saw at first, and some of this, I thought it was artist rendering. That's it. What you're seeing right now, I know there's a lot of Japanese
text, again, if you're watching the
video. That's the park if you're watching the video. If you're not, go look up the trailer. Go look up the trailer. Go up the pictures. There are pictures of like stuff that was mock-ups, but this is the actual park. You can walk up to that. You can go into Bowser's Castle, and it looks beautiful. It looks amazing.
How awesome
I
is it that they're doing a Bowser's Castle Mario Kart ride? Like that's the course they chose. Is
Yeah.
the iconic Bowser's Castle.
That's
I
so
mean, it
cool.
was either that or Rainbow Road,
Yeah.
right? And so they went with
Rainbow
Bowser's
Road was
Castle, which is like,
crazy.
look
It
how
looks.
good the castle looked. That like if you look at that shot that you see there, that reminds me so much of Super Mario RPG.
I'm gonna rewind it. I'm gonna rewind it and pause it just a little bit. Like,
Look at
actually,
that
it's right
shot,
there.
dude. This
Right
like
there.
that's like
Yep.
screaming Super Mario RPG to me. Whenever Smithy takes over the castle, the front there, it
I
this
want to.
it made me want to it made me want to cry. If I ever, and I know that they're making a Florida version
They
of
are.
this that's coming out later, but if I ever have the chance to go to this, like it it's amazing. It looks perfect.
It
It
does.
looks
I'd like to see
absolutely
people for
breathtaking
scale.
with
That's the
how
other
well
thing.
that they were able to do that. I know I keep interrupting you. Like
No, no,
the way that they were able to do that art style and make it real.
no. I agree. I agree. I was just gonna say, I love because my first thought I was like loving it obviously, and I thought I really would like to see like for scale like what people look like, and it's kind of hard to see, but there is a staircase just to the right of my head. If you were watching on the video, there's a little staircase, stair rails. If you see there, so if you want to get an idea of the scale, that'll kind of give you an idea of the scope of this. So it's pretty large, and I like that they didn't show any people in here though, because a lot of times they show trailers for new parks, like when the new Harry Potter stuff opened, the new Disney stuff opens. You see like the people going around and like going, this is great. I feel like if they showed people, it would break how magical this looks, because it looks like I'm looking into Mario. It looks like I'm looking into a Mario game, and if you had some people walking around, I'd be like, oh, that's it may not look, maybe a juxtaposition that would be kind of weird, but
Right.
it's beautiful. Obviously COVID's going on right now, so even if we could get to Japan, it may not be quite so safe. Bowser looks great though. I love this, and I would say I love how big he is. He looks like he's giant. Doesn't look like he's animatronic. It looks like a very statue, something you'd see in the game. But I wished when it came to the carts, when they have a Mario Kart track, I really am hoping, because I don't know if these are on rails. I'm
Has to
really
be.
hoping. Well, I'm really hoping that it's similar to some of the newer rides that some theme parks are doing, where it looks like it's a roller coaster and it's magnetic on the floor, so they actually can separate a little bit. So instead of doing this, you can kind of do this a little bit. So imagine going through the roller coaster and you're doing this, so it looks like your car is just going left and right a little bit. As you're taking a turn, you're not quite in line with the car in front of you. That would be amazing if they're doing that. Like I said, I don't know if I can't get a good look at it, but when I thought of a Mario Kart ride, I was hoping for a VR/AR style go-kart.
Yeah.
That's what I was
You
kind
mean you got to throw a shell at somebody, right?
Exactly. That's what I wanted to do, especially after seeing the Mario Kart Live like miniatures, where if you hit someone with a shell, their car slows down.
Yeah.
Like, do that on a go-kart. But Disney's taught us that if you bring a bunch of people in to play go-karts, people will try to break things and wreck things and hurt each other. So
Sure. I mean, what else like? Are you not supposed to run into each other in go karts?
Well,
Like, how
okay.
are you go karting? Like,
Okay, you're not. It's not that you're not supposed to, but it can cause problems. And Disney's like number one rule is safety. Like no matter, like they have tons of rules that are just about safety. That's like their number one thing. Which you could say like, oh, that's them being nice. It's also them being like not wanting to get sued.
yet they're open during a pandemic.
So
that was me being dark.
Not in California. I wish that they would
Nothing's
close.
open in California.
Yeah, I know, but I wish that they would close. Well, Florida, like they not to get political, but like the governor here is just like, I don't even care.
Sure.
Everything open, we don't care. There's a sheriff near me who basically said, I'm not enforcing any mask mandates. I don't even care.
Yeah, we have one of those.
Yeah, so it's just, to me, it's like, just be safe and be smart. Love and be responsible for yourself and others.
so that we can go to Nintendo Super Mario World theme park Universal in the near future. When do they say this one's opening? Is
2024.
this
No,
one next
next
year?
year. Next year.
When's the one in Florida opening?
I don't know if they've announced it. I was going to say
Okay.
2022.
Are they building it right now?
They're building something, but they're
Okay.
not saying what it is.
Okay.
I believe that that's what it is. I may talk to some of the people that I know who work for Universal and see if they're allowed to say anything.
There's a buddy of mine that is a theme park enthusiast, and so I'll ask him
Yeah,
about it.
he may know.
He like is like he's a part of some roller coaster society. So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I a friend of a friend of mine is part of that too, part of one of those too, because the rumor is that we've known about Nintendo Land, we just don't know if what they're making is that
Okay.
in Florida. They also have a separate section that they haven't talked about a lot, which is Universal's Epic, whatever, which I think is it's just the easiest like name they could throw on it, I guess. Instead of like you have Islands of Adventure, you have Epic. So they haven't talked about what's in there, but people believe that not only Nintendo may be in there. I'm going to get this wrong, so apologies, people who know this better than me. The other rumor is that there's a Lord of the Rings Lord of the Rings section in there, which would be really cool.
It doesn't. It's not outdated. No, whatever. I mean, I guess Lord of the Rings doesn't. I guess Lord of the Rings doesn't have like a date on it, but I mean, we're like 20 years removed from that movie, aren't we? So
we are
not 20.
From the Lord
Return
of
of the
Rings
King was
original
like
trilogy?
what? Nah,
20
no, we are. That's
2007?
close to 2003. Return of the
Whoa,
King.
okay.
Oh man, we're old.
Hobbit. I was gonna say, well, Hobbit also like blends in there too, which isn't as good. You only watch it because you don't have anything else to any other Lord of the Rings material. So,
What do you guys want to see in the Universal theme park when we can inevitably go sometime after next summer, whenever we have a vaccine? Also, what do you guys just want to see from Game Pass? What do you want to see on PlayStation Plus now that they're giving us PS5 games somewhat consistently? I mean, by somewhat consistently, I mean 2 months in a row we've got a PS5 game. Bugsnax still available. You guys let us know.
yeah, let us know who. And also, I meant to mention it in the very beginning. Let us know in the comments who you think has sold more consoles. See if you can just comment without looking it up, because it'll surprise you. Who sold more consoles? Who made first and second place in Black Friday and the launch, as well as Black Friday, versus PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo?
The
Let
Switch.
us know what you think.
I actually don't know the answer. I'm just saying this.
We'll tell you next time. See you later.
Bye.